All right, friends, welcome back to the New Moon Wellbeing podcast, space where we hold meaningful and honest conversations about all things related to well-being. Well-being. I'm Hannah. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for joining me. I am recording this video, but I'm also recording the audio. So if you see me, recording, like looking this direction, it's because I'm also recording the audio for the podcast as well. If you watched the last episode, video-wise, thank you for doing that. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm gonna do this. I'm not really sure if I'm just gonna do one super long video that I upload. I don't really know how I'm doing this. I'm kind of just winging it. I seem to do my best work when I wing it, but I also know that that's not always the case. So thank you again for being here today. Today, it's just gonna be you and me having a hangout sesh. I don't have a particular topic. I kind of wanted to go back and touch on the ego again, and also just talk about some stuff that I've been experiencing in my life and that relate to the ego. And I also wanted to take this time to hear back from you guys. So that voicemail number is going to be at the end of the episode, and I'd love to hear from you guys. So let's go on ahead and hop on to it. Yeah, thanks for joining me on this video. I don't know, all of the research out there says that people either like visual stuff or they like audio stuff. I thought I was a visual person, but I really like podcasts. So I don't generally watch podcast videos. I guess because I've been podcasting now, I kind of think it's like awkward to watch someone do this. Maybe it's because I'm doing it and it feels very uncomfortable, but let me know what you guys think. I thought I'd give it a shot, see how it goes. I am not a technical genius in any way. I'm far from it, actually. So when it comes to like YouTube, I don't know what I'm doing on there. Am I supposed to be hashtagging stuff? I don't know. I have other YouTube pages, but I've just never like used it as a way of like trying to build something. I just put my personal stuff on there. So I guess I could take more of a business approach to this and do some more research and see what I need to do to get it out there. If you are enjoying the podcast, thank you so much. This has been the highlight for me of 2020 and 2021. So I love showing up here every week with you guys, or almost every week. And I love hearing from you, and I'm hoping that these podcasts have been beneficial to you. I know I've said this before, but I really mean it this time. I have like a list of 20 topics that I want to talk about coming up here, and I just need to do the thing that's scary, which is reaching out to people and asking them to come on the podcast. But they're awesome topics, and so I just need to get out of my own way and ask some people. If there's something that you would like to hear about on the podcast, or if there's someone you would like to hear on the podcast, let me know. If you yourself want to come on the podcast, you feel like you have something of value that you want to share, let me know as well. I would love to hear from you. I'm going to go ahead and get on this audio here again. So yes, I want to go back and touch on what we talked about last week, which was the ego. And I took this whole last week to pay a lot of attention to Carla, my ego. And I guess I hadn't realized how much of a role she plays in my life. I I guess because I just wasn't paying any attention to her per se. I guess for the past few weeks, and you guys have probably heard me say this before, and sorry. I get in these little ruts where I just feel stuck somehow. Like I feel like something is about to happen. Either that or, yeah, like I'm on the verge of something and I need to find the thing that's getting in my way. And then I had that aha moment, and my aha moment was Carla. She's the one that's making me feel this way. And I posted some things on the internet the other day because I was trying to understand why I like to use social media as a way of like sharing my feelings. And I know that there are a lot of other people who do this as well. There's nothing wrong with this. But I also think that there are people who like to use social media as a way of seeking validation or for maybe getting attention that they're not, like, they need attention, and that's totally valid too. There's no shame in that game. I understand that social media benefits people in a lot of ways. It is also detrimental in a lot of ways as well. But I put a post out there to see if maybe people could recognize this sensation that they get, or like if they understood what I was saying about like needing to use social media as a way of like having a difficult time identifying whether someone is being transparent, vulnerable, honest, or are they just trying to seek validation or get attention, and also trying to understand that about myself. And I got a lot of responses saying like, yeah, I feel you. I do feel you on that. And I'm not saying, like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I guess what else I posted about was like, why can't I give this to myself? Like, why do I choose this kind of like distanced, kind of like not really connected form of trying to connect? Why do I use that instead of actually trying to connect with other people? And then also, is this something I could give myself? Do I need to be sharing this? Because reading all of that information about the ego, she does talk a lot about like oversharing and why we tend to, why some people like myself are more prone to oversharing. And I do think that there is a part of me that does want that attention. I realize looking back on things that, and I'm not blaming my mom or my dad for this at all. I just want to preface that they're human beings. They did the best that they could. But I don't think they acknowledged or validated my emotions very much. And so I think for like a really long time, like up until maybe I was, I don't know, 27, 28, I didn't really share how I actually felt. I didn't feel safe being who I was. And so now I have this like overwhelming amount that I feel I need to share. But I've realized that I don't want to do that anymore. At least not to the extent that I've been doing it. I do think that there's some things that I can just keep in my head. I can just be quiet about this. I don't need to share every thought I'm having, every feeling I'm having. And I think it gives, like, sometimes I feel like, sure, I'm sharing how I'm feeling and the thoughts that I'm having, but am I really connecting with people in the way that I want to be connecting? And so I've just been thinking about that a lot. Carla has been getting in my way a lot, and I realize that the things that I've been wanting to do, that I've been afraid to do, the reason I've been afraid to do them is because Carla is in there telling me all these reasons why I don't deserve to do these things. I don't have enough like experience. I have like all this imposter syndrome that surrounds me taking risks. And I think that might also be why I'm feeling in this weird place emotionally, is because I'm in kind of a new place right now in my life. So of course Carla, who hates change, is clinging to these stories that I've been telling myself for so long, which is that change is scary and I should be scared. But really, I am not scared. I'm excited. I'm excited about new things, and it's that those stories that she's telling me, or that I'm telling myself in essence, that are getting in my way from actually doing it. Also, I journal every day because that's kind of just my way of like holding myself accountable, making these like small promises to myself every day of showing up for myself, of doing something for myself. I was writing, I think it was today or yesterday. I should remember writing about this today, but I don't. That was like almost half a day earlier. I was writing about how we often confuse anxiety and fear with excitement. And Nicola Pear writes about that. She says that I think our ego automatically feels these sensations in our body and interprets them as fear and anxiety, when really we could just be excited about something. And because that feels so similar physically, we automatically think our stress response gets heightened, and then we don't really even get to enjoy the experience of feeling excited. I can't really remember the last time I was excited, and that made me feel kind of sad. I think as an adult, I mean, we've been adults for a while now, but as an adult, why does it take like something so big for us to feel excited? And that just made me start thinking like, maybe I should really work on being present more and finding things, noticing things, getting excited about absolutely nothing. And I think the reason why we have such a hard time doing that is because we are not living in the present. We are living either in the past or we're thinking about the future. So we're never like here to actually get excited about something because we're not here. My brother actually commented on my Instagram post the other day, which was cool. And he said that his thought was, how can I be content in not knowing? And I'm sure you guys don't know my brother, but for those of you who do know my brother, he is one of my heroes. He's somebody I look up to. I really respect and love the shit out of him, and he always just has these super insightful things to say. Not all the time. I'm not saying he's like a guru or anything. I don't think anybody is that. We're just human beings. But he just sometimes has these like really great thoughts that I hear him say, and this was just one of them. And I was just like, yes, how can I feel happy, content with not knowing what's about to happen? What if I chose, instead of being anxious and fearful and scared, what if I chose to be excited? Like, what if me being excited about it actually changed the outcome of it? You know what I mean? Like, what if like me being fearful is having a negative impact on what is going to happen? What if I decided to not be scared or anxious and instead be excited about the future and be excited about the present? Be excited that I'm here with you guys. Be excited that I get to do this another day. Be excited about the people I might meet today. Be excited about the people I have already met today. Yeah, and I just thought that was so insightful. And Spencer, if you're listening, thank you for sharing that with me. Also, I had something difficult happen to me. I guess that was last week. It was Thursday of last week. And it had to do with my mom. And I'm sure I've already shared it. I've been working on setting boundaries with people, which, P.S., I just want you to know, if you've never set boundaries in your life and you're setting them now, or you want to set them, it is going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable for you. It's going to be uncomfortable for other people. It's going to be the most uncomfortable for those who don't have boundaries either, because there's kind of this codependency there, because you're boundaryless. You don't have any boundaries. First off, I am not a perfect person. And sometimes I expect myself to be perfect. So when I'm doing like growing, like when I'm intentionally focusing on my growth and like healing some shit that needs to be healed, blah, 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 I hold myself to like this standard. And when this is unrealistic for me. Plus, that's not the goal. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to be at peace with who I am, learn some stuff about myself so that I can be a better human being towards others. And so whenever I catch myself doing that, I know that's Carla doing that. And I say, hey, we're not here to be perfect. It's okay if you take one step forward and two steps back. I can be mature and immature at the same time. I can be, I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? And so I have to remind myself of this constantly, because sometimes I do things and I don't like the way I did it, the way I handled it. Sometimes I do things and I feel really proud about the way that I have handled it. And so those are wins, man. That's growth. And often I find myself like feeling shame because I didn't do it the way I wanted to, without even thinking about all the ways I have done it the way I wanted to do it, the ways that I feel proud of. It's so funny how we tend to concentrate more on the negative things rather than remembering all of the positive things. But that's just how we are. So anyway, I've been setting boundaries. Most of the people in my life have been super cool. It has been a practice. It will always be a practice. There are going to be times where I slip up on my boundary setting, or I have too rigid of boundaries and I need to back off a little bit. But it's kind of like, you know, when you're learning something, you're learning how to do it. And it's kind of like robotic a little bit at first, because you're trying to figure out how to do this. And then you realize, like, some of those things aren't working, and then you have to go back, and then eventually it becomes like more organic. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at it. I'm not. I haven't had boundaries for 32 years of my life, 31 years of my life. So I only have like maybe 2 years now of experience, and it's not much experience. So I can tell you that boundaries are awesome. I can also tell you that they're tricky, but they're worth it. Anyway, where I'm going with this, I have set some boundaries with people in my life. Most of the people in my life have been super supportive and respectful of them when I communicated them, which is important. That's like the most important thing, is to communicate them to them. And I knew this was gonna happen. I just didn't think it would happen with my mom. It didn't go well. And she told me some things that were very hurtful, and at the same time made me realize that I was doing the right thing. Like, it just made it more clear to me that I needed more boundaries. And I didn't do the thing that I always do when someone says something mean to me, which is I get defensive. I was not defensive. I asked her more questions about it. I stood firm in why I was setting these boundaries, what I needed, how it made me feel when she crossed my boundaries. I wasn't a little bratty kid like I normally am when someone is mean to me. I'm not proud of that, but I can get kind of bratty when someone is mean to me. Or someone like hits me in a spot that's like real sensitive, like a wound. Anyway, I feel like I handled it really well. I left there, told her I loved her, told her she could call me if she needed anything, because she just had surgery not that long ago, if you guys didn't know. And then, you know, she called me like immediately after and apologized. But I also know that there's like a pattern in our family too, where we feel this sudden guilt, and don't want to experience the consequences of our actions, and so we apologize without actually apologizing. Like, what I mean by apologizing is like understanding how you made that person feel and communicating that, and then also having like questions like, what can I do to make this up to you? What can I do to make this better? How can I make sure that I never make you feel this way again? What can I do to gain your trust back, or whatever? She didn't do that. So I politely told her that I appreciate her apologizing, but I need space. And I think that is another reason why I have been feeling the way that I have been feeling. And because this core relationship of mine it's in shambles. It is disintegrating before my eyes, and I never thought that would happen, but I'm not upset about it. It seems like something that needed to be addressed. It just feels really uncomfortable because it's my mom and I love her, and I'm really hoping that someday we can resolve these issues. But I also recognize that I want someone to meet me halfway. I don't want to do all the work. It's exhausting. This is how I have felt in a lot of my last relationships too. I felt like they communicated to me that I had some things I needed to work on, and so I did that. I went to therapy, I started paying more attention to my anxious attachment style. I paid attention to my, I don't know, texting, my approach to communication. I got better at communicating my feelings instead of holding it in and then like blowing up, because I tend to do that because I'm a people pleaser, and we do that, we just suppress it. But then they didn't meet me halfway, and I'm not blaming these people. It's like I don't want to judge anybody. We're all just human beings. Like, we're all at different stages of our journeys, and so some of us have learned this, some of us haven't learned that, and some of us have learned this, and some of us haven't learned that. Do you know what I'm saying? And I don't have any judgment, but that doesn't mean that we need to be in each other's lives. Do you know what I'm saying? And if we are going to be in each other's lives, maybe that just has to look a little bit different. And because I've never been here before, with my mom at least, I'm kind of just making this up as I go, and I'm kind of just listening to how it feels, how I feel when I'm around her, how I feel, I don't know, do you know what I'm saying? And just trying to determine where I want to go from here, and how we can make this work. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so that's what happened last week, and it's kind of funny because I feel like I spend too much time trying to understand how or like why I'm feeling a way. And I know that this is in my astrology somewhere. I know I cannot pinpoint what it is, but I know I've read this about myself, or at least my astrological chart has mentioned that I love details. I love knowing about things. Like, I want to know why. But sometimes why isn't important. Sometimes why is just like a distraction for me from actually like dealing with it or moving forward. Sometimes I get stuck in the why. And I think one of the reasons why I get stuck in the why is because I don't want it to happen again. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to experience that again. So how can I understand this in the best way possible so this doesn't happen again? Also, maybe it had nothing to do with me, you know? I find that and tell me if this resonates with you. If you're feeling a way that is uncomfortable, you try to fix it because you want it to go away. I do this with all kinds of emotions. I do this with feeling anxious, with feeling fearful, with feeling scared, with feeling, I don't know, disappointed, with feeling rejected. Instead of just sitting with it, often I'll do something to distract myself, or I'll take that energy and put it towards, you know, something that maybe isn't very good for me, but in the meantime it feels better than what I'm feeling. And so I've been really just trying to like talk to Carla. So whenever I've been feeling this way, like I was feeling this way this morning, I was feeling anxious and I wasn't feeling very happy. And I know I'm not going to feel happy all the time, but it would be nice to feel happy like some moments of the day. So I just had like a chat with Carla in the mirror, and I was just like, hey Carla, I feel very anxious right now, and I am guessing that this is your way of protecting me from something. Like, things feel very unknown right now. Things feel kind of, I don't know, like you don't know what's about to happen. We're in a new place, and that feels scary. And I get that you're giving me this sensation, you're giving me these thoughts because you're trying to protect me from that uncomfortability, but this is like, I appreciate you. I'm grateful for all the things that you have done for me, Carla, but it's getting in my way. I can handle this. We can get through this together, okay? We don't need to get all worked up when things feel different or uncomfortable. Like, we can make it through this. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if that worked. But I did feel better after having that conversation with her. And I just played some like beautiful chorus, and I took a shower, and I made my tea, and I've been drinking a lot more water, and things are feeling a little bit lighter today. I did some stuff on my to-do list that was making me feel anxious. Sometimes I find that if you do the most difficult thing on your list first, everything else on the list is so much easier. Like, I put up all of my, you can't see it, but I put up all of the stuff by my desk, like my calendar and my degree and my magnetic board. And then I put my new artwork above my bed, and that felt nice. And I talked to my friend Taylor. We're going to hang out, and so having that planned makes me feel excited about that. And so I don't know if you guys took anything away from the episode last week on the ego. I would love to hear what you took away from it, because for me, the biggest thing I've taken away from it is that she's there like all the time, and if I could just pay more attention to her, then I could decide how I want to think and feel. I don't have to let her dictate how I'm thinking and feeling. I can think about my thoughts and decide whether I want to let those make me feel one way or another. And I don't have to continue to do things that don't make me feel good, just because those are the things that made me feel good before, or didn't. Sometimes I find myself doing things that I don't want to be doing, but it's just such a habit that I'm still doing it, and I'm like, why? What is this giving you? And I've been having to really look at that with like my social media usage, because I find that if you're an anxious person at all, or if you have if you have anxiety at all, I guess like having that hit a dopamine or serotonin, or I think it's dopamine. I think it's it's dopamine. When you get that hit of dopamine, it is addictive. And I find myself like looking at it, and I know that this must be having something to do with Carla. I can't tell you for sure if this has something to do with Carla, but there is a part of me that thinks this is Carla. And so now every time I'm doing it, I try to become aware that that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to like soothe my anxiety, like cope with my anxiety. And so I ask myself, I say, hey, is this bringing me any joy? No, it's not. What can I do right now in this moment that would bring me joy? So I just put my phone down, and I'm just gonna start making this a practice. And I know I'm not gonna be perfect at it, and I'm not going to ask myself to be perfect at it either, because that is a setup for failure. But I do think that this social media is actually contributing to my anxiety, which is ironic, because I think people who have anxiety use it as a coping mechanism, when in reality, it is the thing that's probably making them anxious, or it might be contributing to making them feel anxious. Like, why? I don't want to base my life on like who liked my stuff. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, it means something, but like it doesn't. Like, here I am making this video. Obviously, I want people to see my content. but I don't want to base like my value on whether or not they like it, because I don't really care. I mean, I care, but like I don't care at the same time. You know what I mean? I just want to help people. So if this could help you, great. If this doesn't help you, then just move right along. You know what I'm saying? And it's just so funny because I find myself having these like opposite thoughts all the time. Like I was telling my friend Taylor, I was like, why is it so hard to put yourself out there and say, hey, I've got this skill set, pay me when I need to get paid for it? You know what I'm saying? Like charging for services where there's like not a physical thing that you're selling. It's like a service. You know what I'm saying? It feels very scary because the Carla in your brain is going to tell you, you're not worth that much. How dare you try to charge for your services? You don't have any skill. You don't have any talent. And then me, I'm like, whoa, Carla, you are wrong. So it's like weird to have this like going on in your brain and you're like, shh, Carla, be quiet. Do you know what I'm saying? Guys, I don't know where I'm going with this episode, and I've said this before, sometimes these episodes just kind of mirror whatever's going on in my life, and I really like having structure, but I also like not having any structure, and so hopefully this was kind of a good mix-up. I believe the next episode will be with my friend Taylor, and it will be about polyamory. And I really want to have her on like a whole bunch more because she's awesome and she has so much insight. She has a background in psychology, but she's just also a really cool person. We hit it off as soon as we met. So hopefully I get to have her on so we can talk about all different types of subjects. But for now, I'm going to let you go. Thank you for joining me today. If you have been enjoying the podcast, please subscribe, leave a review, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want to watch them live. Let me know if you've been enjoying the show and maybe what you took away from this last episode about the ego. I would love to hear about it. Otherwise, I will see you next time. I love you guys so much. Thanks for being here. Bye.